the AC. Hot takes.
Lights, camera, and action is large. Eagles get flattened the door to this debate why I hate and get irate. We rate and irritate. Your game is on my plate. The fans anticipate. Of course, we give them great.
Gonna turn up the AC. Got the temperature raising. The latest, hottest takes. No bias for ratings. We coming with straight heat. That's why it's amazing. Go ahead and share the link if you feeling what they think.
Pulling daggers like KD. Launching missiles like Brady. Hot takes on the daily. Outcome is amazing.
Only kick with the IC. Analytics unlikely. No matter what they speak, hot takes turn up AC. Welcome to another installment of Turn Up the AC Hot Takes. I am Reason on a solo edition. We just gonna jump right into this one. Before we talk about our top 8 teams, I want to mention a couple of teams that are going to be on the outside looking in, because the West is so stacked that it's only right that we mention a couple of these teams, because I feel like these are going to be seeds 9, 10, and 11. And that's the Pelicans, the Kings, and the Mavericks. Now, I'm talking about the Pelicans first. Obviously, I'm a fan of Lonzo Ball. I'm a fan of Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, all former Lakers. And Zion Williamson is a freaking monster. This kid is going to be incredible to watch, fun to watch. It's unfortunate he's going to start the season, injured and be out for a couple of weeks, I believe. But it's going to be fun when he gets back to see, what the Pelicans got cooking up, because they got a nice, solid, young team. Not to mention they still have Drew Holiday, they got Derek Favors, and they just added JJ Redick. So it's going to be fun to watch the Pelicans. When the Lakers aren't playing, I'm definitely going to be paying attention to what they're doing. And I expect Lonzo to have a breakout year. I'll get into that in another video. But as of right now, I just wanted to talk about them a little bit and give them a little bit of love, because I think they're going to be the most exciting team to watch this season. Now, seeds 9 and 10 are going to be, in my opinion, the Mavericks and the Kings. I don't think they have quite enough to get in the top 8. But I do believe they have enough to contend for the last playoff spot until the end of the season. Deep into the season. I think they potentially could miss the playoffs by a couple of games, maybe even down to the last week of the season. But Dallas is gonna be fun to watch with Luka and Porzingis. I just think they're missing a piece. I think if they had another, like a wing player of, not even like of a superstar, obviously not a superstar level, because there ain't very many superstars, but all-star caliber wing player, someone who could play off the ball next to Luka, and Porzingis. I think if they had somebody like that they could potentially get in the playoffs. So it's going to be real interesting to see how close they are in the mix at the trade deadline and see what they pull off, because I could see a lot of moves going down around the trade deadline. And as far as the Kings are concerned, De'Aaron Fox, I think, is going to have a huge year this year. And I think he's going to have the Kings in the mix until the very end. And I do think the Mavs and the Kings are just going to miss out on the playoffs. And they're going to be seeds 9 and 10. But yeah, so let's get right into the top 8, man. Here we go. Coming in at number 8, the always reliable San Antonio Spurs. Now, last season, I predicted they would miss the playoffs, and it didn't happen. I mean, at some point, they're going to miss the playoffs, right? I mean, they can't make it every single year, but this ain't the year. I think they're still going to get in, even if it's the 8 seed. I still got the Spurs making the playoffs. They still got DeMar DeRozan. They still got LaMarcus Aldridge. You know what I mean? They got a couple players coming back from injuries. Coach Popovich, I mean, the model of consistency. That whole organization as a whole, you got to give them nothing but the utmost respect and props, because especially playing in the Western Conference, to be in the playoffs for 20 plus years in a row. What was it? I think the streak started in 98, I believe it was. So it's like something like 20, 21 years in a row they've made the playoffs. And I'm not going to call it ending this year. I think they're going to get in as an 8 seed. So we're going to move on to number 7. Coming in at number 7, I really like what this team did this offseason. I think they got better They added Mike Conley to their team next to Donovan Mitchell. Some may say I'm disrespecting them for putting them this low. But, I mean, the West is so stacked. I think seeds 4, 5, 6, and 7 could be separated by like 2 games. I mean, we've seen how it's been the last couple of years, how close these teams are matched. So, I mean, it wouldn't be surprise me if we seen the Jazz as high as 5, maybe even 4. But I got them coming in at number 7 on my predictions, before the season begins. So, coming in at number 6, a lot of people don't got these guys making the playoffs. But I can't predict that because that's disrespectful in my opinion. I mean, you can't live off past success, but 5 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals ain't nothing to scoff at. You know what I mean? So, I got the Golden State Warriors coming in at number 6. I think Steph Curry is going to have a huge, huge year. I think Draymond's going to have a huge year. What concerns me is the fact that they don't have that veteran presence anymore. The Iguodalas, the Livingstons, Obviously, Kevin Durant ain't there no more. So that's why a lot of people don't have them making the playoffs. But I think they're going to be in the mix. And I think as long as when Klay gets back, by I think it's the All-Star break, maybe he'll be back. Something like that. If they're right there in the mix, I think when he comes back, they're going to go on a little, not like a run where they're going to just move up the standings, but I think on a run where you're going to see the Warriors look like the Warriors. Not the dominant Warriors that are blowing everybody out, but I think we're going to see flashes of what used to be. I mean, the Splash Brothers are still there, and Draymond Green, former Defensive Player of the Year. So I think they're still going to be in the mix. I got the Warriors coming in at number 6. I think picking up D'Angelo Russell was a huge pickup for them. A great pickup, if you ask me. I'm a fan of D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, man, it's going to be exciting to watch them and see how they bounce back from, what's happened over the past, few months in the offseason, losing KD and all. But it's going to be fun to watch them. I got the Warriors coming in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, I was back and forth between this team and the team I got at number 4. I feel like I'm disrespecting this team because they prove us wrong every single year, and they're always a top 3-4 seed, and that's the Portland Trailblazers. I got them coming in at number 5. 4 and 5 they could easily have the same record. You know what I mean? It's happened, in the past couple, recent memory. So Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum is an incredible duo. Second best backcourt in the league, if you ask me. Yeah, man, I got Portland coming in at number 5, but potentially a little bit higher, maybe even as high as 3, if they pull some magic off and pull a trade off to maybe try to get Kevin Love. I know his contract is a big contract. If I'm not mistaken, he has like a year, maybe 2 years left on his contract. But if they were able to find a way to pull something off and land Kevin Love, I think that could catapult them, in the top 4, maybe even top 3 in the West. That would be a big pickup. I mean, you heard it here first. That's my bold statement that if they were to pull something like that off, they could be in the top 3. But until something like that happens, as currently constructed, I got Portland coming in at number 5. Number 4, I got the Denver Nuggets. They're going to be a really good team. They're going to have a really good record, just like Portland. They could potentially be a little bit higher than this as well if things go right. I got them coming in at number 4. The Joker, I have him ranked as my number 10 player in the NBA for this season. If you haven't checked that out, I dropped that a couple of weeks ago, so you can go check that out, who I have as my top 10 players in the league. Denver I got coming in at number 4. And moving on to number 3. Now, these top 3 teams, I don't have them in order right now, but I'm about to place this order as we go right now. So coming in at number 3, I got the Los Angeles Clippers coming in at number 3 this season. A lot of y'all out there listening might be like, oh, you're crazy. They got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and arguably the best defensive team in the league. But with all that being said, Paul George is out to start the season. And, who knows how long it's going to take for Kawhi to, fit in there. And I think the Clippers are going to be a force to be reckoned with by the time the season ends. But I think early it could be a little bit of a slow start because they're going to start off 0-1 first of all when they play the Lakers. But anyways, we're going to keep it pushing. Yeah, I got the Clippers coming in at number 3. Kawhi Leonard, I think, deserves respect as the best player in the league based off what he accomplished last season. And, in the playoffs, a lot of people feel LeBron James is being disrespected, but I don't think you can give him the top slot as best player in the league because he wasn't able to show his full abilities again in the playoffs. Because let's be honest, that's where players like Kawhi, LeBron, James Harden, Giannis are going to be measured at the end of the day. It's what you do in the playoffs. So with that being said, as I mentioned, I got the Clippers coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, I got my Los Angeles Lakers coming in at number 2. I think we're going to have a huge and fast start to the season because if you look at our first, I think it's like 15 to 20 games. It's a very favorable schedule. We could see the Lakers something like 16-4 to start the season. Some 15-5, something like that to start the season, and get a nice jump start on this year. So I think we're gonna see something like that. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, to me, are the best duo in the NBA, and I think they're gonna prove it. I think Anthony Davis is gonna be in contention for MVP. LeBron James is gonna be LeBron James, but one thing I hope for LeBron is, you're in year 17, approaching 35 this year, I believe. You gotta kick back and not go so much full throttle in the regular season and let AD and Kyle Kuzma, blossom and turn into the number 2 and 3 in the big 3, in our big 3. And come playoff time, that's when LeBron shows what he still got in the tank and show, just how great he still is. So I got the Lakers coming in at number 2, which leaves one slot open. The Houston Rockets coming in at number 1. A lot of y'all may be like, the Rockets, Westbrook, Harden, that's never going to work. Let's be honest, we didn't think Chris Paul and Harden was going to work as good as it did for the regular season. And this is just regular season rankings. This is not playoffs yet. I'm only talking about what I think is going to happen for the regular season. And I think the Houston Rockets are going to win a lot of games on the strength of James Harden being in the MVP conversation again. He's going to be one of 2 or 3 players in the conversation. He's going to have the stats to show it. He's going to have the big games as normal because let's face it, as much as Westbrook wants the ball in his hands, it's James Harden's team. I think Westbrook, and rightfully so, gets a lot of, flack for demanding the ball and taking some bad shots and forcing it from time to time. Some people say all the time. But one thing you have to respect about Westbrook is his attitude, and he wants to win. I believe that wholeheartedly, that he wants to win, and I think he's going to make the right choices where James Harden is still the guy on the team, but Westbrook is going to help them win a lot of games. And I think the Rockets could win, upwards of 60, maybe even 60 games. It may take a little while to get them going, but I think they're going to win a lot of games. I would have the Lakers at number 1 if it wasn't for, the load management that's inevitable with LeBron James. I feel like he's going to miss, 10 to 12 games, something along those lines. And rightfully so. He don't need to be playing back-to-backs all, like mid-season. We're going to need to find places where he could rest and AD goes off in those games. And AD as well. A lot of people like to talk about the Lakers and potential injuries. So, I'm okay with load managing AD as well. I want them both to be healthy come playoff time. So that's why I think the Lakers will end up as a 2 seed and the Rockets will be the 1. So recap. Number 1, I got the Rockets. Number 2, Lakers. Then the Clippers, Nuggets, Blazers, Warriors, Jazz, and the San Antonio Spurs, 1 through 8. So as far as my playoff predictions, here we go. First round matchup of Rockets versus Spurs. I got the Rockets getting past the Spurs. I got the Lakers over the Jazz. I think the Clippers and the Warriors first round matchup is going to be a pretty interesting one. I think the Warriors can scare them, but I still would pick the Clippers to get past the Warriors. And my 4 or 5 matchup of Nuggets Blazers, I'll be picking the Portland Trail Blazers to beat the Denver Nuggets. So coming out of the first round of the playoffs, I got the Rockets, Lakers, Clippers, and Portland. So Rockets and Portland will be one matchup, and everyone's Western Conference Finals matchup of the Lakers and Clippers, I think will not take place in the Western Conference Finals, not this year. I think it takes place in the second round. And I got the Lakers beating the Clippers. I don't see any scenario, unless there's injuries, that the Clippers will beat the Lakers, because I think LeBron James is going to show just how much he has left in the tank in the playoffs. And AD potentially off of a MVP year this year is going to have a huge playoff run. I think Kyle Kuzma is dying to get a shot in the playoffs. And let's be real, Paul George has not the best track record in the playoffs. When he was with OKC, he disappeared in those first rounds. They couldn't even get out of the first round. So I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, Paul George is a better player than... Forget all that. Because history shows that Paul George is not very reliable in the playoffs. You know? So with that being said, I got the Lakers over the Clippers. And that Rockets and Nuggets matchup, I think is going to be a long series. Not the Nuggets, excuse me. Portland Trailblazers. The Rockets and Blazers, I think it's going to be a long series. Very fun series to watch. And I'm not going out on a limb here. I think the Blazers can beat the Rockets and get back to the Western Finals. But ultimately, they will fall short to the Lakers. I got the Lakers over the Blazers in the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers will be representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals against my Eastern Conference pick, who I predicted about a week or so ago would be the Philadelphia 76ers. So I got the 2020 NBA Finals as a matchup between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Philadelphia 76ers. And I got my Lakers beating the Sixers in 6 games. And LeBron getting championship number 4. The Lakers bringing home championship number 17. And, I got the Lakers over the 76ers in the NBA Finals. So go ahead and comment, hate, debate, whatever you want to do. We appreciate it all. Go ahead and tell me who you think is going to be the top 8 seeds in the Western Conference, and who you think is going to represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals, as well as who you think is going to be the NBA champion this year. Whatever you think is going to happen, I think there's legitimately 5 teams that could win the NBA championship this year, and which is amazing. And there's about 6 or 7 teams that could get to the finals. I just think there's, it's a wide open NBA this year, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a very exciting ride. A lot of duos everywhere. I'm very excited to get this thing going. Tuesday night, Lakers Clippers. Oh, it's going down. And then the rest of the season, it's going to be fun, man. So go ahead and let me know, as I mentioned, who you think is going to win, and tell me why I'm wrong, So once again, this has been Reason. Turn up the AC Hot Takes with my Western Conference predictions. And once again, I got the Lakers over the Philadelphia 76ers in 6 games in the NBA Finals. Until next time, we're out.